So we have good news. Inflation is coming down, and it's already down 4.1% from the peak back in June 2022. But does that mean that the US economy is headed in the right direction? Well, I have more for you on that in just a moment. But first I ask is if you can spend just 2 seconds, go ahead and hit the like button if you are tired of paying higher prices. And now let's get into the video. So what is happening in this so-called recession? Is it really speeding up? Is it slowing down? Are we going in the right direction? Well, this is where things get very interesting, because lately you've probably seen headlines like this, where Citigroup shares rise after first quarter revenue tops expectations. Okay, great. But you've probably also seen more articles and storylines like this. JP Morgan Chase posts record revenue that tops expectations on higher interest rates. Okay, wonderful. But you've probably also seen stories like this, where Burger King is selling more Whoppers than ever before in early days of its US turnaround. Well, if they're selling more Whoppers, that means there's probably not a recession, right? Everybody has money and they're going and buying fast food. That sounds great. But that doesn't sound like a recession's coming, right? Things are okay. But then you dig in a little bit further and you start to see that things are not as good as they may seem. Because look at this. This just came out today where US retail sales fell 1% amid high inflation and rising rates. Yes, this is happening. These things are happening all around us, and most people aren't seeing it. But probably also seen reports like this, where Morgan Stanley's US stock chief sees more than a 20% downside coming for the S&P 500 and warns of an earnings recession on banking sector turmoil. That doesn't sound great. That sounds like there's a recession coming. And he's calling it an earnings recession. So to this point, everything is pointing to a recession. We are going to end up in a recession. No matter what the White House says, no matter what the Fed thinks they can do, the expectation is we will end up in a recession. Remember, a recession is defined as a period of temporary economic decline during which trade and industrial activity are reduced, generally identified by the fall in GDP in 2 successive quarters. We've had that before, but yet the White House came out and said, no, we are not in a recession, and they essentially changed the definition. Now, I know a lot of people have said that they are not too worried. It won't be a big deal. As a recession is not going to be as bad as many people are making it out to be. Because as long as they have a job, as long as they have a home to live in, and as long as they have their health, a recession won't change their lives at all. Now, I bring that up because that's exactly what I got. Many people would comment on my videos, send me emails, and some of the things that I've seen is one person said, no, a recession is not going to matter because they still have their job. They make over $100,000 per year. They will be just fine. Their families' lives will not change whatsoever. Another person said that their home isn't all the way paid off, but they only have a mortgage of $1,728. They will be fine. As long as I have my home, I will be perfectly fine. One person said, my health is all that matters. Okay. Well, there are a lot of people that believe this, and if you believe all these things, well, some of it is right, some of it is wrong. As long as you have your health, you will be okay because you can make moves. You can go and get a job. You can go and find a way to earn an income where you can pay for a house and pay for food and pay for medications. That's true. But this is where many people are wrong. What if you cannot keep your job? If you can't keep your job, are you going to be fine? Because in a recession, we could see millions of people lose their jobs. We could see millions of people come out of the workforce because one, they've been laid off, or two, they are going to retire because they don't want to go and find another job. Again, millions of people will be gone. And that's going to happen during a recession. If we go into a depression, far worse. But what about your home? A lot of people said, as long as I have my home, I'll be perfectly fine. Well, did you know that Wall Street is currently trying to buy up as many single-family homes as they can? Yeah. Even though there's high interest rates, that's not stopping them. That's not going to stop Wall Street. They are doing this because rents keep rising. And the renters are tired of living in large apartment complexes. So naturally, Wall Street decides they're going to go and take on single-family homes in order to capitalize on rising rents and this new shift away from large complexes. So don't think for a second you are safe. If Wall Street comes in and says, I'm going to buy your house, and you sell them your house, guess what? You now have money, but do you have a house? No. You now have money, which you can go and pay for food and pay for rent and pay for medications, but guess what? Now you don't have a house. You think Wall Street cares? No. Wall Street cares about making money. That's what Wall Street cares about. So don't think that these warning signs haven't been there. These warning signs have been here for months. Okay? And now we're starting to get word from, big time investors, from CEOs, even billionaire, legendary investor Warren Buffett. He came out and he said that inflation is a constant threat to the country, but so far the United States has done pretty well. But he's been saying that there are big problems out there. And right now, we are not out of this mess. Even Warren Buffett said, and I quote, extreme inflation is always a possibility and that it could lead to hyperinflation, which is exactly why the Fed must continue to fight and get inflation down to their 2% target. We're at 5%, 3% away. However, the hard part is getting down to 2% is going to mean a lot of changes. But something has been mentioned time and time again. And again, I want to be very clear on this. This has been by CEOs, by billionaires, by the people that are kind of running the country. Is that inflation during a recession would be the worst possible outcome. They say we must get inflation down before the recession hits, or else this could be crippling to the spending power of the lower and middle class households. And again, just because you own your home doesn't mean you're going to be able to keep it forever. Somebody's going to come to you and say, hey, I want to buy your home. And if you sell it, well, now you don't own a home. And if you lose your job and you don't have any savings, would you still be able to afford the home that you're living in and keep the current lifestyle? And if you answered no, then the truth is a recession will hurt. So, the recession is speeding up. We are seeing this. People are losing their homes. People are losing their cars. They don't have any savings. Their credit card debt is through the roof. All this stuff is pointing to a recession. Again, this is what I always say, is to be prepared, but to continue to stay educated. Stay up to date on everything that's going on. This is why I come on here 2 to 3 times every single day, fill you in on all the latest news. I want to make sure you are prepared as well, because in the end, that's all we can really do. So, I will leave you at that. Again, thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.